Colin Sharkey joins us now, who's Director of National Projects at the Association of American Educators. Mr. Sharkey, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on. We've talked a lot about unions lately and about, some of the things the government's been trying to do to try to make it easier for unions to form, to force people into representation. And I guess the question comes down to, should union workers have the freedom to get out of their union, and if they can't get out, at least drop representation without having to pay so-called fair share dues to the very organization they don't want to be part of?
That's right, and they have that freedom. They just often don't realize it, and they don't know how to exercise that freedom.
Well, except the freedom is they still have to pay the money. Is that right, unless they're in a right-to-work state?
Yes, it depends on the state. In half the country that is right-to-work, a union member can just leave. They can say, I'm dissatisfied. This is not serving me. I don't want to pay all this money. I don't support your politics. I'm done, and they leave. In the non-right-to-work states, they do have to continue to pay for some of the bargaining and the representation, but even that rebate is significant. They also have the option to become a religious objector. They can send all of their money to a charity instead of to a union if they passionately disagree with it. The real problem is all of those steps I just mentioned are still incredibly difficult and require a lot of information and courage for an employee to exercise that right.
Should we make it at least as easy to opt out of paying dues or have the dues sent to a charity in the non-right-to-work states as we have, as easy as it is to sign one of those representation cards if somebody wants to form a union? I mean, if the government is going to make it easy to form a union, I think they should make it just as easy for people who want to opt out of that.
That sure sounds fair, doesn't it? You can sign a napkin to get into the union, but if you want to get out, you got to jump through hurdles and hoops, and you've got to endure all of the name calling and retribution that you might get for just exercising your freedom as an American to say, I'm going to pick the professional association that best serves me. And that's the whole purpose of National Employee Freedom Week, is to make sure that employees throughout the country, they feel encouraged and equipped to make that decision. They can decide what best serves them, whether it's continuing their union membership, it's dropping the union, it's joining a non-union professional association. They should have that right.
Hey, is there anything, Colin, that your organization or organizations like it can do to make this more of a turnkey process for people who want to opt out of unions? Because that would be a tremendous service to do for some of these people who no longer want to be associated with unions.
I agree, and my organization, the Association of American Educators, we're the largest national non-union teacher association, and we work very hard to make sure that teachers in particular know they have the right to find the association that best serves them. Instead of paying up to $1,200 a year to the union in, say, Wisconsin, they can now say, you know what, I'm going to pay $180 a year to AAE. And there's groups across the country that offer those services. So I agree with you. That would be a great option that teachers, employees of all kinds can say, I want the union, I don't want the union, sign your name, and it's done. Right now, that's not the case.
I want you to comment on something. The AFL-CIO came out with this response to the issue. If you're in a union, you have the freedom to speak up without retaliation. I want you to comment on that part, too. About your job, about the hours you work, job safety, how to improve your job, and ways to find a work-life balance, and the freedom to sit down with your employer to bargain over pay and benefits. That kind of workplace freedom, let me emphasize this, is provided by your union contract. Comment on that?
Well, I guess they would think that they own freedom, and National Employee Freedom Week has put the unions in the awkward position of confirming that employees have this right, but somehow they take issue with us drawing attention to this right and letting employees – it's a pro-worker policy, a pro-freedom policy of letting employees exercise that right. I know, working with non-union teachers and groups throughout the country and working very closely with free market think tanks like the Nevada Policy Research Institute, who helped us spearhead this project, I know that there are people around the country who don't feel that freedom whatsoever. They certainly don't think the union provided it to them. They want the freedom to spend their money as they choose. They worked hard for it.
Colin, what's the website?
EmployeeFreedomWeek.com. People can go on there and find out what their rights are. They can help spread the word. If they want to tweet about it, the hashtag is EmployeeFreedom.
Colin, I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Colin Sharkey, who's director for the National Projects part of the Association of American Educators.
The Lars Larson Show.